Haku, hello, welcome to AIM TV. I'm Michael Cordero. On this program, we will be discussing Old Spanish days. Before our panel discussion, Fiesta, Fact or Fiction, we will have a video tour of some popular Santa Barbara landmarks.
Presidio. It is one of 3 strategically placed military posts set in Alta California as claimed for Spain around 1782. The population of the indigenous peoples of this area, the Chumash, numbered over 17,000 peoples, and within a short period of 20 years, the population virtually diminished. But they're still here. The Old Spanish Days strikes a chord with the local Chumash that many locals don't understand. Hey Jackson, can you tell us a little bit about that? How do you feel about it?
It's a sore subject with me. People come here to celebrate what they consider Old Spanish Days, and to me, being a local Chumash Indian, it means that people are okay with the extermination and dissemination of the local Indians here and how they were destroyed in order for the Spaniards to say they conquered this land and to build their missions.
This mural is a replication of a painting done by Russell Ruiz in 1963. This rendering was based on archaeological findings supported by the Santa Barbara Trust for Historic Preservation. What we are curious about is where is this cemetery located if it's between the Presidio and the Mission. This is the Presidio Aqueduct. This portion of the original aqueduct was uncovered in 1988 during archaeological excavations conducted with the assistance of the California Conservation Corps. Presidio soldiers, they say, worked with the native Chumash to build the aqueduct, which was completed in 1783. Around the same time, we can discuss that the population of the Chumash had virtually declined at that point. Bob Hoover is a member of the Santa Barbara Trust for Historic Preservation. He is the overseer of the current excavation in the courtyard of the Presidio. When we asked him if they had found any Native American Chumash artifacts, he simply said, "You won't find anything like that here." Jackson, can you tell us why they wouldn't find anything like that here?
That would be due to when the Presidios were built. They were built as a fortress to keep the local Chumash Indians out of the area and to keep us away from their society. It was just for the priests of the chapel and the soldiers and their families to participate in. So I agree there probably wouldn't be any indigenous remains or artifacts inside the confines of Presidio.
Hi Bob, how you doing today?
Hi, how are you?
It's a hot one, isn't it?
Yes.
Well, can you tell us, just in a nutshell, what you're doing back here, if you're finding any good things?
Well, we're trying to find the level of the Spanish ground in 1782. And it's about a foot or a foot and a half below where this modern soil is, where the wall fell in and all the adobe bricks melted and caused this overburden. So we're trying to find the original ground level. Now, it's more complicated than that because later on there were Chinese and Japanese people who settled here and lived in the backs of these yards in the late 19th century. And they dug trash pits and privies and things, we'll put in walls and walkways and things like that. So we're finding that stuff too. So it's a mixture of Asian American and Hispanic American types of things here.
Wow, that's very interesting. Could you tell me anything about the courtyard? Wasn't that kind of like during the Spanish days, the celebration? They kind of kept everything within the courtyard. And
absolutely, that was the place where all the social interaction took place, where all the crafts were done, all the household chores and things like that. It was the big plaza. It was like De La Guerra Plaza at Fiesta time.
Right.
Hi, my name is Weighill Cordero. I'm Chumash. I was born in 1989 and I've lived in Santa Barbara County my whole life. And this is the Santa Barbara Courthouse. is not Chumash or even Mexican. Maybe that's because it was born in 1929, right around the time when Santa Barbara was becoming, according to author Kevin Starr in his book Material Dreams, a figment of its own imagination. All of this was helped along by the popular Zorro movies of the 1920s. This was about the time Old Spanish Days was getting started, in 1924 to be exact. City leaders needed a way to bring in tourists during the summer, and since movie-going was popular at the time, a make-believe movie-set city was the way to go. They wanted to depict Spanish colonial California, not like it actually was, but like Hollywood would like it to be. City officials wanted to replace it with something that looked like it came straight out of Spain. Up with the San Lucian fence, complete with a mural depicting Juan Gavillo planting a flag in Santa Barbara. The fact that this never happened, says Kevin Starr, is to miss the point. In Santa Barbara, history had long since become romance. Mexican Americans lived in what was called Spanish Town, in one room adobes in the heart of the city. Here they found work in the homes and hotels of the wealthy. One writer expressed his dismay that the denizens of Spanish Town did not live up to his idealized expectations of them. In the 1880s, Edward Roberts wrote that the present dress of the Mexican has become sadly Americanized. He seemed disappointed that instead of finding pure-blooded Spanish descendants, he found a population of mixed bloods, living in poverty, eking out a living, and wearing whatever was available. In Material Dreams, Kevin Starr likes to symbolize Santa Barbara by the name of one of his streets, Anacapa, a corruption of the Chumash word Añapac, which means mirage. By the 1920s, Santa Barbara was becoming a mirage city for the privileged few. Perez writes, excluded from the Spanish myth are the brutal and insidious elements of colonialism as manifested in these semi-feudal missions and hacienda systems. A fantasy pass could work as a commodity to lure tourists and consumers. And lure tourists it has, for 85 years. The mission statement of Old Spanish Days proclaims that it is a non-profit dedicated to honoring and preserving Santa Barbara's history, spirit, culture, heritage, and traditions. Most of these traditions, like flamenco dancing, were created by Old Spanish Days events themselves and have nothing to do with colonial California. Aside from a few events put on by some groups doing real historical research, there is little education about that era going on at all. Canto is actually a pre-Columbian term. The Aztecs used the metaphor in Xochitl Inquicat, flower and song, to celebrate poetry as the one truth on earth. Playwright Luis Valdez and poet Alurista link revolutionary literature to its ancient roots. Ironically, Floricanto here is used to introduce Spanish colonial dances, when Chicano activists use the term Floricanto to express anti-colonial ideas. It is also interesting to note that by 1821, Mexico had already won its independence from Spain. A quote from revolutionary leader Father Miguel Hidalgo, celebrated as El Grito on Mexican Independence Day, speaks to most Mexicans' opinions about the colonial Spanish. My children, a new dispensation comes to us today. Will you receive it? Will you free yourselves? Will you recover the land stolen 300 years ago from your forefathers by the hated Spaniards? You must act at once. Will you not defend your religion and your rights as true patriots? Long live Our Lady of Guadalupe. Death to bad government. Death to the Cachupines. But it is not